I think about Oxford, probably perhaps the oldest university in the world. And they haven't figured out what Stonehenge is. How long did it take us to invent the microwave? How long was Oxford in existence before the microwave was invented? Or Einstein thought of E equal mc squared. Or Madame Curie in radioactive isotopes. But it's all in here. Oil was under the ground thousands of years before we even had sense enough to make a combustion engine to burn it. Saw a program the other night about those witch hunts in Salem. Christians burning people at the stake because they were demon possessed. There are no demon possessed Christians. I don't have any need to perform an exorcism on a Christian. And so what if I got a demon out of an unsaved person? They still gonna die and go to hell if I don't share Jesus and get them indwelt with His Holy Spirit. So we have to go. We're looking at Black history from a biblical perspective. I've thrown in a few side notes and little sidebars because I want to get you to thinking that what I'm saying just might be true. If the scholars and theologians didn't know this for 1,000 years, Napoleon never rode in an airplane. And we put so much stock, so much confidence in what the early and founding fathers said. Their knowledge was limited to that which God wanted revealed at that time. They had no computers, typesetting. What, 1,500? World 1,500 years old before they learned to put this stuff in print. I had to write it out. So, let me just give you a few for instances, and then my time is up, and I'm going to bring this phase of Black history and Jesus to a close. This presentation here is part of a 3-part series on African American heritage that I did about 10, 15 years ago. I've already told you that the connection between Black history in Jesus is centered in Dr. Ralph J. Bunche, the son of African slaves, African American slaves, and God's prophetic word. For over 3,000 years ago, God promised to scatter the Israelites, his chosen people, among the nations of the world because of their sin and idolatry. God also promised to return a remnant of them to the promised land at some future date. In come Ralph J. Bunche, almost 1,900 years later. Now, if you want to find out where he promised to scatter them, go to Leviticus 26:23, Deuteronomy 4:25-31, Deuteronomy 28:36, and 62:67. Jesus Christ, during his stay on earth, foresaw the destruction of the city of Jerusalem and of the temple of God. The Holy of Holies was gone. All the provision for the sacrifice. There hasn't been a sacrifice in Jerusalem for 1,800 years. But, as I said before, the martyr Deacon Stevenson predicted that the Babylonian captivity of Israel was not their last, that they would be scattered beyond Babylon because they rejected their Messiah, as it is written. God knew it. And he still loved them and loves them. Jeremiah 25:12. The initial prophecy of scattering of the Israelite occurred in 1405 BC. The city of Jerusalem and the temple of God were destroyed in 70 AD. The worldwide scattering of the Jewish people was completed by AD 135 or somewhere in there. These latter events are historical facts. I discovered this from my Palestinian guide on my last trip to Israel. What has been done is in the recorded history of Western civilization. But Ralph J. Bunche, an African American, he had a pivotal role in the fulfillment of this 14th century BC biblical prophecy, and he did it in the 20th century AD, 1948. Now you ask God, why he took two cousins, the descendants of Ham and Japheth. And this just didn't, the Euro-Asian Christian just didn't come about by osmosis or of their own volition, because really, Paul wanted to take the gospel east. And the Holy Spirit says, no, take it over to Macedonia, take it over to Europe. And for those of you that are following the course of the spread of Christianity, know that Christianity is on a westward swing around the world.